Um, but you know what? Before we do that, why don't y'all tell me where y'all joining me from? Who y'all be? I know a few names over here on Instagram. I know a few folks because I can remember names because they're my niecey poos, but I can't remember all the names. So forgive me, count it to my mind and not my heart. All right, all right. Give a girl a little grace. My tea is has been steeped. All right. So, did y'all drop in the comments? Oh, I'm at work. We're trying to hear this live. Okay, beautiful. If you can't catch it live, if you're on the email list, you will get the replay, and you can always check it out on the YouTube channel. All right. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. Y'all, I've been wearing my natural wash and go. This is not I have not had a twist out in weeks. I'm doing some moisture training on my hair. And y'all look at my curls just popping. Look at my curls, y'all. I'm so loving my curls, and I have like three different textures in my hair. So I've been testing all different products. This side is Miss Aunt Jackie's. Yeah, this side is Aunt Jackie's, and this side is Twisted Sister. I'm also trying different products to see which ones work, which combos work for me. And I used four different shampoos this time to see which one was going to give me some moisture, y'all. This side is Patterns by Tracy Ellis Ross. This back side is, I think this is Shea Butter's Restorative. One of both these sides are both Garnier. One is their coconut water and aloe vera, and this one is their Shea Butter and avocado. All of them feel great. I'm not gonna lie. So I think I got some winning shampoos. So thank you, Miss Transplantings. For those of guys who do not know me, hi, Classic Garden. Hey, Amy, who just joined. Thanks so much. Those who do not know me, I am Coach Tracy. I am a Black liberation and trauma healing coach for highly inspired Black women. What I mean by highly inspired Black women, I mean those Black women who are ready to break those generational cycles, patterns, habits, ways of being in their life. Those women who are ready to start standing up for themselves or stand up for themselves even more. They're ready to peel back the layers and say, okay, so what's really going on in my life? They're ready to not only to get self-aware, they're ready to do some self-reflection, and they're ready to go deep and do some self-inquiry to understand what is preventing them from living their best life, from being their highest self. What's stopping them from being as confident as they like, from making the decisions that is the best for them, that's authentic to who they truly want to be, not living what somebody told them they can live, not taking the crumbs, and ready to make tough decisions that sometimes require us to make some difficult changes in our life. That's who I work with. That's who I want to work with. Where is she? Who is she? She is the C-suite person. She is the business entrepreneur. She's the stay-at-home mom. She's the stay-at-home working mom. She is you. She is me. She's just ready to say, I'm ready to liberate my mind. I'm ready to liberate my heart. I'm ready to liberate my body from all of this trauma. And I know it's going to be uncomfortable, but I'm ready to do the work. That's who my soulmate client is. And again, that can be you. So thank you guys for letting me share who I am. Today's topic is an interesting, and it is a tough topic. And I'm going to start it off by saying, make sure you are protecting yourself. If there is anything that I say in this live that may possibly trigger you, get grounded, self-soothe, recenter. And if you want to come back and look at it, feel free to do so. But first and foremost, this is about protecting you, making sure that you are okay first and foremost. However, sometimes we have to have these tough topics about things that are showing up in our communities with our sisters that are preventing us from living our best life. And trauma bonds are huge. Today's hot tea is from Herb Blends, or Your Blends. Your Blends by Katrina. Yes. If you guys have not checked out her coffees, I'm gonna need y'all to do so. I mean, I keep saying coffees, y'all. I forget. I mean, tea, because I'm a coffee and tea drinker, and sometimes I forget what I'm drinking. Katrina Price is the owner. It is Black owned, Black woman owned. Look at her. Look at her marketing. I just absolutely love her colors. Some of the colors are similar to mine. I love it. But more importantly, I am loving her teas. I have mixed her Daydream tea with her Hot Toddy tea today. Her Hot Toddy tea is a little strong for me, but it is very good. You cannot let this, if you like a strong tea with a little bitterness, bittersweet, let this one steep for a while, 10, 15 minutes. And let me tell you, it is going to give you something, okay? All right. I can't drink this one by itself. I've tried several times, but I need to, even when I put my honey in it, I can't do it. So if you are, I mean, I'm not sure what it is, because I've had black teas. I've had cinnamon, orange peel. It's not the clove. It's just a very darn good tea, because I have never had a tea this strong. Okay. So if you like a good strong hot toddy, is your tea. Daydream is your soft, relaxing tea with your book, sitting up. That's how I perceive Daydream. It's yeah. The Daydream tea is actually not even, doesn't have any teas. It's herbs, lemongrass, ginger, lemon peel, licorice, spearmint, chamomile, flower, and basil. So freaking good. Check it out. And then she also gifted me with this beautiful tea strainer. Beautiful tea strainer. So we got that. I hope you guys will check her out. Make her and all of my tea sponsors. Y'all go back and check them out. But all of my tea sponsors are amazing. So go back and make sure you're supporting them. Okay. Okay. Oh, Nia says, I love her teas. I got to get the recent one, her new one with the taste like a pancake. Mm-hmm. Y'all know I love me some pancakes and waffles, right? All right. Let's get into this, because this one is not easy, but we're going to do this. Have y'all seen the Netflix movie Malcolm and Marie? Put me a 1 in the comments if you've seen the Netflix movie Malcolm and Marie. If you have seen that movie, you have seen trauma bonding, period, point blank. Okay. What is a trauma bond? If you've seen that movie, and you have seen, and you may have been this person, have you ever seen two people who love each other but hate each other? I mean, they cuss each other out one way, down the other. They can sling some of the most hurtful things to one another. Bloom Journey, it's a beautiful black and white movie, but let me tell you, it's triggering. It's triggering. But it is a good movie to see what trauma bonding truly is. And it is a very, very toxic relationship. Malcolm is narcissistic in the movie, but Marie, I don't think she's narcissistic, but she is someone who she's been looking for love. She has been an addict. He took her in, and he uses that against her a lot. He uses her addiction against her a lot. He says some things to her that, y'all, I might have been wearing orange, because they know where in the world somebody who professed to love me is going to say those kind of things to me. They would not do that. But check it out, Transplantings. But again, Take your time with it. It is not the longest movie, but the entire movie is triggering. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay. I was looking at it like, what? Why am I still watching this? That's exactly how I was talking to myself. Like, why am I still watching this? But I couldn't stop watching it because it was like, what's going on? So if you've ever seen a couple that 1 minute they are loving on each other, they booed up, and just like that, something triggers one or both of them. It's usually someone that has a narcissistic, one of them is usually narcissistic, okay? Not always, but usually. But they have these, it's like it's like a bipolar relationship. It's almost like it is bipolar. But the abuse is not only verbal, it can be physical. It is most definitely emotional abuse on so many levels. And usually it is very verbal. And a lot of times, not always. So but let me just explain. What it looks like is a person, and we call these people, you just like drama. What is wrong? You really just you think that that's all they want is drama. But it's not about just the drama. For them, that is the definition of love. That is how they define receiving love. Because what happens in this type of relationship is this person comes in and basically swoops you off your feet, loves you, gives you everything, just really makes you feel freaking amazing. Okay. Yes, they can be very argumentative. Yes. They shower you with all of this affection and this attention and these assurances of deep love. Okay. And you feel let me tell you, your dopamine is on, your endorphins, everything's firing. You just happy. You are so happy. Okay. You're so happy. And what usually happens is the abuse starts out of nowhere. Because remember, you have been showered with all this love, attention, affection. And then all of a sudden, he or she will start to verbally abuse you, physically abuse you, emotionally abuse you. There's a lot of gaslighting. There's usually a lot of name calling. There's a lot of invalidating. There's a lot of microaggressions also inside. There's micro insults, microaggressions, micro invalidations, a lot of the things. Nia, that is not a twin flame. That is not a twin flame. Twin flames don't treat each other in that way. They may bring out parts of you that you may or may not like, but that's not a trauma bond. No, you may have some heated words, some coming to Jesus moments with your twin flame or your soul partner, whatever you want to call it. Okay. But trauma bonds are deeply rooted in abuse, control, power, and it's also deeply rooted in a power struggle. Both people are trying to control the other to get what they want from the other, what they need from the other. It's almost like a vampire who needs your blood to live, but they can't kill you because he needs you or she needs you. So they abuse you, beat you, all the things. But then on the other side, they love you. It is, like I said, it's very, 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 you got your highs and you got your lows. And those lows are very, very low. very, very low. Okay. Typically, when someone ends in a relationship like this, from what I have seen, this is usually between um if you've seen where a woman has been um what's the girl's name? They found her. She was kidnapped, but she had a trauma bond with her kidnapper. Okay. It's like, how could you love this person that's done this to you? They can't, they know that there's this bad part, but there's this connection that keeps them bound to this person. There is some manipulation in it, but there's also some, it is the hardest one to describe because they look very different. Okay. It's a cycle of abuse. It's kind of like a toxic codependency. Yeah, because they're dependent on each other. The difference is if it's a narcissistic person, narcissistic people really don't depend on anyone. They use people. If that makes any sense, right? They buy you gifts. They call you their soulmate. They Here's a good example. I am a survivor of domestic violence, right? And Centoya Brown Long went through that. If she didn't, right, exactly. You know they're wrong. You want to get away from it, but you want to stay with them. You're in this struggle with yourself. I've never been in a trauma bond. I have watched people in trauma bonds because I was like, what in the world is going on? And I had to do some serious research. My degree requires me to take a lot of psychology classes and sociology classes. Okay. So I had heard of it, but I had never seen no craziness like that. I'm not going to say craziness. I had never seen anything as intense. Please forgive me. I had never seen anything like that because it's now that I think of it, I think my mom may have been in a trauma bond with my father. So maybe I had seen it, but I didn't know it. But my father was addicted to drugs. And when my father got off of drugs, the whole dynamics of the relationship changed. So that wasn't his true nature. My father wasn't that way before he got addicted to drugs, right? But these people, sometimes my mother's and father's relationship changed. It wasn't that abusiveness anymore. Only when he had a craving and he was trying to fight through it. What typically happens when you're in a trauma bond, yes, so thriver, because I am thriving. My surviving taught me so much about myself that I'm able to thrive now. So I'm no longer just a survivor. I am a thriver. But what typically happens if you are in a trauma bond, the fear of the abuse is very, very scary. So you are constantly on pins and needles. You are never sure where the other shoe is going to drop, but you still have this love for this person because there's this part of you that sees this love and what you really want because of your fears, because your rejection, because of the abandonment that you've had, because you've not really seen you haven't seen in many cases what unconditional love is supposed to look like. You haven't seen what healthy love and relationships look like. You stay longer than you should, and sometimes you don't get out of it. Sometimes you are in that until one of you pass away or something happens, unfortunately, right? So it's an imbalance of power. Like I said, it's a power struggle. Both are one is trying to love the other person enough where they are no longer abusing them. The abuser is doing the same, but the abuser has the most power because he or she knows that you have this love that continues to forgive them, and you keep and you stay and you don't go. It's like you're looking at someone who has been brainwashed, but they're simply seeking love and they don't know how to get themselves out of it because a part of their brain, the trauma that they've experienced is, yes, Mother Nature's niece. It is so scary. They've been traumatized so much that this is their truth. Alicia says you're talking the truth. So what you see is they're screaming at each other, they're throwing things at each other, you think they're gonna kill each other a lot of times. They are saying when I say they say some harsh things to one another a lot of times. And again, every traumatically bonded relationship looks different, but for the most part, there is this harshness. The person, when they're not with this person, whether it is the person that's dishing out the abuse or not, and they're both abusive. One may be physically or abusive, one may be more abusive than the other, but in both of them are abusive in a lot of ways. The one with the least amount of power is not going to be, he or she is going to be the one that is the forgiving one. The one with the most power is going to be the one that comes with the gifts usually. And again, that's usually, these are not just facts, but that's typically how it looks. Okay. In the next minute, after they've done all of this cursing each other out and calling each other names and abusing each other, the woman or the man, either one may be physically harmed, but the next they're embroiled in this passion that's like, what? They're having sex, they're intimate, they're kissing each other, they're loving all over each other, they're just it's very confusing. It's very confusing. Y'all, I got my note because even talking about it's hard, okay? Because it's mind-boggling. The person will make excuses for the other person, right? He's not that bad. It's not that bad. Y'all, he is so loving. She's not that bad. It's you just don't know how much they support me. She is so good to me. He is so good to me. Anything that I need, I never have to worry about anything. If you know that person is, they have the hardest time. Like they are so depressed when they're not around them. They're so distressed. They're always worried about them. They're always concerned of them. They fixate and they ruminate on those good days. It's almost like they are in their mind. They're just telling themselves over and over again that this person is good for them, that this person means them no harm, that this person, they look at all the good in them versus the pain that they are receiving, whether it be physical, whether it's a mental, emotional pain, verbal. Because let me be clear, sticks and stones may break your bones, or words you never had. That's a lie. That is a lie. Words will never leave you. You will, even if you try to forget what someone said to you, you will remember it. And they can hurt. They hurt. Sometimes words hurt more than someone physically punching you, okay? There is power in death. There is power of life and death in the tongue. If you can speak life and death in the tongue, there is no way that words cannot hurt you. Understand what I'm saying, okay? The person also who has the less power, you're always seeking to try to change them. You're hoping for the best. You're looking for ways. You keep their dirty secrets for them too, okay? You I feel you never forget how people make you feel, exactly. And I want to correct that also. And I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I also want you to think about how much power we give to people about them making us feel a certain way. And I want you to think about it from this perspective, because if a person has enough power over me, if I give them this much power over me that they can change how I feel simply by being in my presence, I've given them a lot of my power. And the reason why I say that is because I can be in the presence of a number of people. Now, their energy is definitely going to affect me, because energy is just that, it's powerful. But I cannot allow someone's words, and although we do, because the words that come out of a person's mouth, we can choose, and I'm saying this lightly because I do not want to give anybody this idea of toxic positivity, but we can choose to think, we can choose how we receive it. That's what I'm going to say. We can choose how we receive their words. Do we receive their words as someone who is spewing pain because they are in pain, where we can extend them some grace and compassion? Or do we receive their words as someone who we've given the power to hurt us with their words? Does that make sense? Because if you can have that level of control over your mindset, how you choose to receive what someone says to you, a lot of times we can minimize the consequences that transpire. It does not mean we are letting them off the hook. It does not mean that our feelings are not involved, because they are. But how we choose to receive them can make the difference between how we manage our energy, how we manage and control our power without giving our power away. Okay? I hope that made sense. Because people go, they made me feel this certain kind of way. Their energy does, that's their energy, but did their words? Yes, words can hurt when we receive them in a way that can hurt us. And I say this because I know that many times we've said things to people and our intent was truly to hurt, because we have all been hurt because of how we received what someone said to us. Sometimes going backwards, we can say, they said what they said, and what they said may have had some truth in it, but how they delivered it was what really stung. Just something to think about, okay? There's something I want you to know about those type of relationships, that where you see this type of activity going on. You have to ask yourself, if you are in this type of relationship. Exactly. Alicia over on Facebook says, my mom said, don't talk when you're angry. Exactly. Because when you're angry, what you need to say may be truth, but it will come out in a way that is so hurtful. And it's delivered in a way very differently than when you've had a moment to simmer down. If you would not want someone that you love to be in a relationship that was like this, if you cannot see it for yourself, the type of relationship that you're in, you know that you are in a relationship that is not good for you. Okay? It ain't going to be easy if you are in a trauma bonded type relationship. If you feel like you ain't got no power to leave this one, that it will kill you to leave this relationship, if you feel any of the things that you're dismissing all of the abuse, the words, the hurtful, because usually in a trauma bonded relationship, the delivery of the abuse is meant to break you. It's meant to break you down. It's meant to hurt you to your core. It is meant to gaslight you, to get in your head. Okay? Here's how you're feeling. One, you're walking around on pins and needles because you never know when that shoe's going to drop. Second thing is your body is always on alert. So your autonomic nervous system, your fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response system is always engaged. Your body is taxed. Not only is your physical body taxed, your mental state is taxed, your emotional state is taxed, your spiritual state is taxed. You are using resources that could save you on an everyday basis. That's not how your flight, fight, freeze, fawn response system is supposed to operate. It's supposed to only operate when there is a high risk of being harmed. But you are living in a relationship that is a high risk of harm. So it's on all the time. A lot of times your adrenaline, your cortisol, your stress hormone, the adrenaline is what kicks on when your fight, flight, or freeze fawn system pops up, is on board. I mean, it's just totally just it don't even know what to do. It's almost like the girl, boy that cried wolf. Your autonomic nervous system just it don't know what to do. It don't know when to kick in, right? But here's the thing. You can get out of this. But the only way to get out of this is that, one, you have to choose you. That's the first thing. You have to choose yourself. And that means you're going to have to, all those urges to reach out to that person, to have them in their lives. Exactly, Mother Nature's niece. But so many people, I understand exactly what you're saying. She says, I wouldn't be able to handle my stress levels moving like that. It would make me crazy. But some people have lived in that for so long. And we also need you to understand, the person who has the power, who is the one who is doling out the affection, the attention, and the love, they already know your weaknesses. It's kind of like many of us think about the devil. The devil knows your weaknesses. He knows where to pour that soil in to turn it up. Knows your weaknesses. So if your weakness is gambling, he's gonna bring gambling into your face some kind of way. If your weakness is smoking, he's gonna bring smoking into your world in some kind of way. If your weakness is food, there's some kind of way you're gonna come around it. You're going to put yourself in those positions and you're going to wonder why. Because the reason why you're able to put yourself in those positions is because this is not strong enough to withstand. And because we have been taught in this world to seek comfort and pleasure at all costs. We don't know how to operate when we are in distress, when we are in pain. The first thing we do is we try to make it go away. That's why toxic positivity, I do not preach that, because until you learn how to be in discomfort, you cannot really know how it feels to actually have that joy in the way that it's supposed to be felt and received. Because one thing that we have been taught in this life, that all of our life we're supposed to have pleasure. We're not supposed, anytime there's discomfort, we're supposed to try to get rid of it. So we're always constantly on that hamster wheel, trying to keep that discomfort away. And inside your discomfort is where you know you need healing. Inside that discomfort is where you can actually build up your resilience and your strength. When you allow yourself to go through something that can build you up, when you allow yourself to go through something that you know, and this is the discomfort when you are not discomfort from just sitting there taking the pain from a toothache. That's not what I'm saying. Please do not get it twisted, okay? What I'm saying is that you build your strength in being able to recognize what is good for you and what is not good for you when you are able to go through the process of disengaging from those things that are not serving you, okay? When you know that the being with a person makes you crazy, when you know that being with a person, you give up this particular person, you give up all your power and they control you, you have to learn how to sit in the discomfort of not having that person around you. Oh, honey, Alicia over on Facebook says, when you are underestimated and tired, woo, you get the strength to walk away. Sometimes they underestimate you because they think they know your weaknesses. They typically know your weaknesses. Sometimes you don't know your own weaknesses. So see, a narcissistic person or a person who is manipulative, they are going to show you the representative. And they've learned how to play the game very well. Yes, Mother Nature's niece. Mother Nature oh wow, the accuracy, Mia Sade says. Mother Nature's niece says, the discomfort lessens every time for me. And I think that's progress. Exactly. Because what happens is when you feed the discomfort, you continue to feed it. And every time you feed it, it gets more strength over you. Every time you feed the discomfort, it gets more strength over you. That's why it's so hard to stop these addictive behaviors of eating too much when you are when you're buffering, when you are hurting. If you are a person that turns to food, if you turn to alcohol, if you turn to such and such, have you ever noticed that the more you turn to that, the more food you eat, the more you drink? Because at some point, this level is not going to work for you. This is just like an addict. They have to have more and more and more and more. That's how our discomfort works. And that's why if we don't start learning how to sit in the discomfort so it can lose its power over us, we keep going back. But you got to learn how to sit in that discomfort. Over on Instagram, it says, yeah, I'm sitting with that as well. Mia Sade says, I knew I needed to come in here. Same, that hit so home. See, the discomfort is where the healing is. It's also where the medicine is. And that's the duality of it, because we don't want that pain of the discomfort, but inside that discomfort is how we get our healing. That is where your messages are for you to understand what needs to change. You sit with yourself and say, why am I feeling this way? Why am I allowing myself to go through this? I know that I'm better than this. And you may not know that you're better than this, but you are. I should do better than this. Let it hurt good and for the last time. Chance, I like how you said that. So true. But see, once you can get past that surface level of the questions, why am I doing this? Then you can start peeling it back a little bit and say, okay, when did this start happening? This is why journaling is so good. Because if you got your pen and paper and you just go into free flow and stream of consciousness and just let whatever comes up and come out. Bloom Journey, I'm so glad this supported you today. Maybe, just maybe, you can see your truth and stop living out your lies. Not so much just your lies, because a lot of the things that we believe about ourselves are self-imposed limiting beliefs from the limiting beliefs other people have put on us or society has put on us, and they are lies. And the reason that you were lied to, the reason that we are lied to, is because we are so powerful. Just like that poem Marianne Williamson says, it's not the fear of success, it's the fear of the power that we really have. Okay? Just the discomfort is bliss. You look at yourself and envision without the problems. Okay? But this is not just like any relationship that you're in. It's not easy to get out of, because inside of a trauma bonding relationship, you've abandoned yourself. You've been taught how to abandon yourself. As a people, Black people, we've been taught how to abandon ourselves from the moment that we were enslaved. Okay, so abandonment isn't new to, but we still need, and that's the part that the person in the trauma bonding relationship has the power. They know that you want to be loved so bad, whatever that thing is. They know you want that affection. They know how to pour it on. Okay. Here's the thing also, it's not easy. For this type of someone who's in a trauma bonding relationship, you are definitely going to need therapy. You are definitely going to need therapy. You probably also need a coach. Therapy and coaching can get you where you need to be a lot faster than therapy alone, because most of the time with therapy, sometimes you don't get those practical tools that can help you to make the necessary changes. Alicia over on Facebook says, I'm learning to be comfortable by myself and with myself. Absolutely. That is so important, to learn how to be by yourself and with yourself. I read something, and I wish I had it. It says, in the beginning, there was you. In the middle, there was you. In the end, there is you. You will always be with yourself. You will never be able to get to be without yourself. And if you don't like being with yourself, the question that you have to ask yourself is, why? Where did you learn that it was not good to be with yourself? Where did you learn that your company was not good company? Where did you learn that you needed to be occupied all the time. Right? I'm going to say something and I'm going to let y'all go. Breaking the bond, again, is going to require therapy. We talked about another way that you can start to determine whether or not you are in a trauma bond is to really dig, sit down, get with yourself, ask yourself if you would tell your friend to leave, if you want your friend, your child, your sister, your girlfriend. Transplantings over on Instagram says, right, just have to rinse it down with something ascendant. Bloomsbury, I can be comfortable with myself as adding another person that makes things complicated. Interesting. Now that's even another dynamic to dig a little deeper into, because we're made for connection. So you can be comfortable with yourself, but adding another person, it gets complicated. Ask yourself the why. Why does it get complicated? What changes about the dynamics about being with yourself when another person enters into your life? Mother Nature's sciences, they are all pluses in your show, LL. Okay, and they can quickly become minuses. Oh, yes. They can quickly become minuses. However, why is it they become minuses? Because what we have to remember is that we chose this person. What in this person is your wound? What wound does this person connect you with? Because usually we connect with people that have the same wounds or similar wounds. So that's where your healing is. That's where your healing is. All right. And I'm going to leave you guys because we've been on there a little while, but it's not easy. And I will say this. If you've been a victim of domestic violence of any way, particularly if it was physical abuse, you know how hard it is to get away, especially if the person is a stalker. I was stalked by my ex-husband, my children's father. And it was scary as heck. Let me tell you, y'all, it's been over 20 something years and I can still feel the fear that I had. Okay. So we know that walking, if this is just a normal relationship, it's not a trauma bond. But if you are in a domestic violent relationship, if you can think about how hard it is for some people to get away, it is going to be as hard in a trauma bonding relationship. But it is not impossible. The first step is, again, you got to choose you. And when you choose you, there's some things you got to cut that person off completely. You got to get rid of phone numbers. You got to get a new phone. You got to do some things. Okay. You have to involve your family and allow them to help you if they are in a position to help you. And if they truly are able to help you and not part of the dynamic of this trauma bond. So you have to be careful with that. Of course, the professional help. Okay. And please do not blame yourself for this, because let me tell you something. It's not hard. It's not hard to get in a trauma bond because all of us are seeking love. All of us are seeking affection. All of us are seeking connection. And there are some people out there that are very, very manipulative and know how to play the game to get what they want. But the thing is, if you are paying attention to this part, your inner gut, your inner knowing, your intuition, typically, it's going to tell you. Because hindsight being 2020, most of us will go, you know what? I knew something wasn't right. Most of us will say that once we get out of it, okay? We'll be like, I knew something right. When we first started dating, he would do this or she would do that, and I knew something. So instead of waiting to after the fact, do yourself a favor and start listening to your intuition. Being with yourself, that is part of it. Not just being with yourself, but being quiet with yourself in meditation, in breath work, and allowing your inner knowing, the Holy Spirit, your inner tuition, your gut tell you what you need to know, because that's where your truth is. Let me read some of these comments over here. That is where it's at. Mia Sade, she says, I think for me, I over on Instagram, she says, I think for me, I expect too much from folks. I'll give the world to someone if I care about them, and it becomes a tough pill to swallow when it's not reciprocated. Well, Mia, let me say something about love. And this is coming from not the coach. This is coming from a woman who has been in love, married 3 times. Every man I pretty much, yeah, I date you, you gonna get married, dude. Anyway, love is never about you. It's always about the other person. That's why it's love. And when you are giving love, hoping for reciprocation instead of simply receiving love the way they extend it to you, that's how you that's love. But when you are expecting someone to give you based on what you've given, that's not love. I'm sorry. That is a that's like a business transaction. I give you this, I expect this from that. That's not how love is supposed to work. We've been taught that's how love is supposed to work. It's give or take. But when you allow someone to love you and you accept the love that they give you in the way that they give it to you, then you can absolutely speak to that person. And if you've not connected with this person from a wound and you've done your healing, one, you will have attracted the person that will meet your needs because you're not operating from a fear. You're not operating from a loss. You're operating from a healed space. Healed will attract healed. Wounded is going to attract wounded. Y'all hear? You feel me? So you don't go into the relationship expecting. You go into the relationship knowing. Big difference. Big difference. And I will say this, and this is coming from, again, not the coach. This is coming from someone who has loved and lived. I'll be 55 next month, a month from today, actually. When you have expectations, you set yourself up for disappointment. Because many times we have expectations of people and they don't even know what those expectations are. And as women, we do that a lot. We expect people to know how we feel and we don't even open our mouth and tell them. We expect them to know how we feel just because we ain't open our mouth, because we're walking around looking sad, because we've been in the bed all day long, because we expect them to know exactly what we're feeling. That's not right. They ain't mind readers. Nobody. None of us are mind readers. Now, you may have some ways of being when you are feeling a certain kind of way, and you would think that they would notice that. But y'all have to remember, we also talking about many of us are dating men. Some of us are dating women. And we think that even if we're dating a woman, that we would have an even better relationship because they know how women are. Well, let's be clear. Still, I don't care who you dating. Nobody is a mind reader. Me and Sade, we all got a lot to work on. So do not beat yourself up on, even me, even as a coach, even as I've always got, when we ain't got nothing to work on, we dead, period. I'm just saying, we always got something to work on. She says, I never thought about that way. Thanks for opening my eyes. Mother Nature's niece says, I like to ask people what makes them feel appreciated because I do that same thing. Absolutely. Learning what a person's love language is. If you have never read that book, please read the 5 love languages, not just from a perspective of romantic life, but even from your friends, from your children, from your mother, from your father. Everybody has a different way of receiving love, right? If you love that person, how they receive love is not a sacrifice for you. That's a gift to you. You are giving them that gift of loving them in the way that they feel the most loved. That's an honor to me. But read that book. It's a very quick read. If you can't read it, get it on Audible, whatever, Kindle, whatever it is. It's a quick read. But those 5 languages, will help you in so many ways in your relationship. And it will help you to understand. And when you do read this book and when you start doing your healing work, then you will understand how you ended up with those love languages. And I'm going to leave for real. I'm going to leave just because I got to get out here. I got to look at my nails, looking all crazy. But when you read that and you start doing your healing work and you start peeling the layers back, you will start to connect. How did you end up with those love languages? I will tell you a little story and then I'm really, really going to go. And y'all don't forget to go and order the tea from Herb Your Blends, okay? And I need to type it into the comments. Check them out. Please, please, please. But when I started doing my healing work, and I realized that words of affirmation, quality time are my 2 major ones. They're probably like neck and neck, okay? Those mean the most to me. But when I realized it, because I read the 5 love languages, but I didn't know how I got these love languages. And I realized it when I peeled back the layers because I felt like I was abandoned by my father. My whole life, I felt like my father abandoned me. My mother was not the most nurturing mother. She was a great caretaker. Oh my God, I ain't never want for nothing. Okay? We lived in the projects and I ain't never want for nothing. I had my own room my entire life. I ain't never shared a room. Okay? My brother and I, we always had our separate rooms. We never wanted for anything. We ain't never go hungry. We ain't never had our lights turned. I don't know how my mama did it, but my mother was a wonderful caretaker. She wasn't the most nurturing, but she was loving. And there's a difference. My mother loved us, but she wasn't nurturing. My mother wasn't nurturing because she was never nurtured. So, but I had to learn this because many of us think our mothers are supposed to know how to be mothers just because they're mothers. No, ma'am. That ain't how it worked. I wish it worked that way, but that is not how it works. Not everybody has that maternal instinct. And even when they do have the maternal instinct, we have to remember that we learn what we live. And what we live is what we're usually going to do. So I want to say that. But I learned that my need for affirmation, my need for quality time came from the fact that I felt abandoned and I was traumatized because I didn't know my birth story. I didn't know the story behind why my father wasn't there. And parents, please, many of us think that our kids are too young to handle the truth. Our kids can handle the truth better than we can. If my mother had told me the truth, I would have understood. I did not find out the truth of what was my birth story and how it happened until my dad died in 2009. I was 48 something years old, something like that. It's been what, 12 years? I was like, whatever that age was. I was 40 some years old when my mother told me the truth of what happened. For the whole 40 something years of my life, I felt abandoned by my father. And even though we had a good relationship when he passed, had I known, maybe we could have had a better relationship. And I do not blame my mother. No, not at all. I don't blame my mother or my father, period. Because they don't know. You don't know until you know. And we also have to remember, we live with parents and people who have been taught that children are seen and not seen. And a lot of us, even when we become adults, they still treat us that way sometimes because that's how they have been treated. Before I go, let me read these comments. Let me start from the top. I never thought about thinking, okay, when Mia, don't beat yourself up. But if you need help, you know how to connect me. Transplanting says the work never ceases either. Exactly, it never ceases. You just get more aware of when you need to do some work because you're constantly doing self-reflection and self-inquiry and checking yourself. Transplant also says it's been an interesting part of journey to break my crap down. I'm not exempt from my narcissism, but doing the work is more rewarding than not. Yes. And let me be clear. All of us have a bit of narcissism in us. All right. We all do, because we all want our way. Did that surprise you? She also says when ineptly good people clear their crap, we only become gooder. Yes. Oh my God, that is so good. Good afternoon for love for always, Carla. Hey, Kendra Pooh. How you doing, baby girl? I'm glad I'm not the only one that's constantly doing work. Amen. LOL, I thought I was nuts. The one thing I want to say to that, and I promise I'm really leaving, is don't constantly doing work that you forget to absolutely celebrate yourself in the present. Because see, we're taught that we need to be constantly doing work. And I'm not saying that you need to constantly be doing work. Yes, we do need to be constantly reflecting, being aware and doing, but don't always be trying so much to change yourself. Because it's not so much that you need to change yourself as it is you simply need to understand yourself and know how you and why you're showing up the way you are. And when there is a need for change that is going to bring you closer to your higher self, the person that you want to be, please, please do not forget to love on who you are today. Don't even forget to love on who you were, because she kept you safe. She got you to where you are today. She may have had some maladaptive coping mechanisms, but her heart was good. Okay. And she didn't know better. You can't know better until you can't do better until you're prepared to know better when you know, do better when you know better. You cannot do better until you're ready to do better when you know better. I'm going to say that again because that might have missed somebody. You cannot do better until you're prepared to do better when you know better. I'm going to say it one more time. You cannot do better until you're ready to do better when you know better. All right. I love you all. I hope you guys have the most amazing rest of your day. Oh, yes, Carla. I love that. Mia, thank you, beautiful. Yes, you got to celebrate the small wins. You got to celebrate who you are today. You got to celebrate who you were. You got to celebrate all of you. Because that's you. That's you. Love it. Thank you. You guys have the most amazing day. If you are inside the private Facebook group, you know we will have our weekly training tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be about relationship abandonment. kind of the same, a little bit of the same, but not the same. We're going to learn about how relationship abandonment shows up and why we do it. So we're going to be talking about that inside the private Facebook group. If you're in the group, make sure you hit the link because it's on Zoom so we can have some privacy and all that. Okay. Thursday, even though it's Thanksgiving, I'm going to still show up, and we're going to do Get Your Breakthrough Thursdays inside the private Facebook group at 12 o'clock noon Eastern time. So if you're not inside the group, you're missing out on some free training, some free coaching, all of those things. So I encourage you to get inside the group, make that happen. You are so welcome for Love for Always, Carla. As I get ready. Oh, yay. You're welcome, Mia. Oh, Diana, you are so welcome. Shalisa. Yes, transplanting. Amy, you guys, thank you so much for the beautiful hearts and the love and the comments, because it's about community. This isn't a monologue. It's a dialogue. We learning with each other. And yes, I have, my training schedule, my talk schedule and all that, but I don't want it to just be me talking. So thank you for showing up in the comments. Next year, I'm planning on taking this differently so that we can actually be in community and conversation, because there's so much that these platforms don't allow us, which is the human connection, the being able to really support someone and to really hold sacred space. So Zoom will become part of where I will be doing some of the work that I do, because I want to be able to actually have real dialogue, not just the comments, but I really want to be able to have dialogue and really connect. So thank you all for that. I hope you guys, if you're celebrating Thanksgiving, we call it Feast Day because we don't celebrate Thanksgiving in our family, because we know Thanksgiving is not the holiday it was cracked up to be. We just call it spending time with our family and feasting. Whatever you do, I hope that you have an opportunity to be with your loved ones, your friends, your family, and I hope you have some amazing food. Don't eat too much, don't drink too much. And if I don't see you until later in the week, just know that you are loved. I appreciate you. Last but not least, please, please, please hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the comment button. I have not been uploading my Tea Talks into Instagram because I really want people to really hit my YouTube channel and also join the Facebook group and stuff, because again, I'm planning on coming off these social media platforms in 2022 at some point. So I don't want to get y'all codependent. All right. So if you haven't signed up for the email, haven't been in the group, make sure you do that so you can get the replay. If you're not on YouTube, make sure you get the replay, and definitely share. Sharing is caring. All right, guys, I love you. Thank you all. Hey, Shay Faye. But this is one I'm probably going to upload because it is so good and so needed. Transplanting, you are so welcome. I need to know your first name. Queen Mimi. Alicia, everybody that has been with me over on Facebook, I appreciate you all. LinkedIn and YouTube. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Make sure you go and check out yourblends.com and make sure you get your coffee, your tea. Y'all, I don't know why I can't say tea. I'm gonna have to practice your name. Lashray. Did I say it correctly? Lashray. I'm gonna get it. I love you guys. Have a great rest of your day on purpose. Continue to plant those seeds that are going to propel you forward, that are going to elevate you so that you can grow, thrive, and flourish to be the woman that you want to be, the woman that you know you can be, the woman that God has predestined you to be. God, Spirit, Source, Allah, whoever. Okay? I love you. Take care.